teach us to rethink about our habits in religious life or religious practice. Now I come to my own field. Not many examples I will give because I'm aware that maybe you are not students of the Bible and this is quite strange to you, but I try to choose some parts of the Bible which are quite known. Yeah. First is about the Adam and Eve. In the book of Genesis, when God asked Adam if he had eaten from the forbidden tree, Adam replied, "The woman whom you placed by my side, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." Here Adam cleverly shifted the blame to Eve, while insinuating God's role as Eve's creator. So, no, it is not just about Eve who gave the apple, but God is also responsible of creating Eve who gave him apple. In the phrase, "the woman whom you placed by my side," she gave me of the tree. The woman whom you gave me by my side. Usually people skip this part and go to Eve. So that's why feminist appears. Yeah, feminist is protesting the way we skip this part. I'm not really sure if the feminists are aware. Actually, Adam is not just pointing his finger to Eve, but also to God. What would the feminists think about it? Anyway, this is the case. Yeah, it is not just the woman, but also you as the creator are responsible for what happened. And Adam's word also remind us of how Eve was created. When Eve was created, one chapter before the chapter 3 in the book of Genesis, there was a story of the creations of Eve. Adam was fast asleep. The rabbinic commentary comments on this. The question is why Adam was put in sleep. Why he had to sleep when Eve was created. It's strange, unusual. And then the rabbi, as usual, they are very funny, but they don't mean to be funny. Adam had not slept at first when God met his mate, but Adam kept protesting about the result. So in the beginning, he was awake. But he kept protesting why the nose is black. Why after that God tried to do what you call this make a new nose and this is good, but the hair is too curly, etc., etc. Eventually, God got frustrated and decided to just make Adam sleep. But you know that since then, man or husband is never satisfied with his wife. That's because the reason is because man was put asleep when the woman was created. Sorry for being so misogynist. Yeah, in the biblical reading, it's called gap. You have many gap, lacuna, strange things, unexplainable in the story. You are invited to fill the gap with whatever you want to fill the gap, because according to Eric Orba, that is the typical or the characteristic of the Hebrew Bible, especially, or the Old Testament, fraught with backgrounds. Yeah, it's he is a literature person, compared with Homer, the story from Greek tradition, and then you will notice the big difference between biblical stories and Greek stories. The biblical stories, you hardly have full descriptions of the characters. In Greek stories, you have almost full descriptions of the characters. The person has a scar in the face, for example. Is it Oedipus? Who else? The posture, etc. In the Bible, sometimes you have it, but a lot of times you don't. Why? Now, this is from the literature perspective. It is an invitation for you to fill the gap. And this is one of the strategy to fill the gap that makes the story quite funny. Why not? Again, funniness is not supposed to be separated from godness, from religion. Which one are you more interested? I don't get the left one or the right one. Yeah, but I draw from the Biblical Studies, biblical scholar Sarah Emanuel, who studied the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, book of Revelation, in which you find a lot of weird depictions of the so-called last time, the apocalyptic imagery. You have a lot of end times stories in this book of Revelation. Yet, Sarah Emanuel said, Revelation is a post-colonial Jewish narrative of becoming that uses humor as a mode of opposition and repair in the face of imperial trauma. It's very interesting. She used the word imperial trauma. Through what Emmanuel calls roasting, this is now a known word among us who like stand-up comedy. A term very popular in the stand-up comedy shows. Revelation performs a hidden or subtle resistance to the Roman Empire. That's why I show the other picture. Yeah, this is kind of roasting, like Combat biscuit, but now the Surabayan people rings the bell. Kon kok guyon bersama. Kon is you in Surabaya, yeah. Surabaya like joking, yeah, the Surabaya people. I'm from Surabaya, too, I'm Surabaya. So don't feel offended if I even present this kind of material to you. To strengthen his her argument, actually, I'm sorry. First, situates Revelation as a Hellenistic Jewish book rather than a Christian book. So it's interesting. It is not Christian, actually. It is a Jewish book. So you need to see it from the perspective of Jewish tradition, which is a lot of humor. It's got a lot of humor in it. We are familiar with Jewish life is full of humor. Now, in this context of Revelation, Emmanuel calls it imperial trauma. So it is the way the Jews face traumatic experiences or tragedies. Even in the Shoah, I call it Shoah, or people call it Holocaust. In the Second World War, you have some jokes making funny of this tragic experience. Of course, it is a tragic experience, but why not make it also a funny experience at the same time? I remember a colleague from the Netherlands who first visited us as a visiting professor many years ago, came to me and he wondered, why these people, your people, they always laugh when they fail or make something fail. So if you drop something, they laugh. Why? Now I realize that actually we have been living in a very tragic and traumatic experience. So we try to cope with this tragic experience with laughing. So don't get it wrong. Laughing is not showing that you are happy. Laughing can be a sign of, pittiness, of something that you feel sorry about, but you laugh because of that. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, but it is. Now, faced with the repressive power of the Roman Empire that caused this trauma, the text depicts Christ as a newer and better Caesar. But in doing so, the vitriolic humor that it directs against Caesar and the Roman Empire attaches itself to Christ and God's empire. Just as a roaster today often mocks and praises his or her subject via obscene gestures and humorous insults, so too does the Apocalypse, that is the book of Revelation, seem to simultaneously detest and desire the imperial throne. You are familiar with the phrase imperial or colonial, and being the subject of colonialism is always in a position of being suppressed. But you have a lot of jokes during this kind of time. According to Emmanuel, expressed the two things. That is, you detest the colonial power, the imperial power, but at the same time, you also desire this imperial or colonial power. I'm sure you are familiar with this paradox of being in a colonial time or being colonized. It's not just one-way reaction you are against, but at the same time, you want to be like the colonial power. And that's why it is humorous. Another joke. A priest, a minister, and a rabbi were climbing a mountain. It was very hot, and they were tired and sweaty. They came across a small lake. Knowing that the place was quite secluded, they decided to take a dip. They undressed and swam for a few minutes, and then, feeling refreshed, they decided to pick some berries while enjoying their freedom. Naked is freedom. While being naked is not allowed. You also limit the freedom of the people if you disallow or forbid people to be naked. As they were crossing an open area, still naked, a group of women from the city came by. They immediately ran back into the wooded area, and the priest and the minister covering their privates, while the rabbi covered his face. The rabbi covered his face. After the incident, they put their clothes back on. The minister and the priest asked the rabbi why he was covering his face instead of his private. The rabbi replied, I don't know about you, but in my congregation, it is my face that they will recognize. It's a deep joke. It's a deep joke, yeah. I don't know which one is true. You cover the face or you cover your private. Which one is more known to you? It's funny. We always do a lot of things to cover our private, but forget to cover our face when we do a silly thing. Why not like the rabbi? We should cover our face, not our private. But when you open your private, you think that your face is gone. It's strange. We human beings are strange creatures. But of course, this is also relating to the congregation, the people they serve. Yeah. The rabbi is known, to the people, and the minister and the priest, the congregation don't know them, just know the their private. The priest. Okay. Now I make some sort of conclusion. It's just a short presentation. I would like to discuss with you more about this possibility of making humor or attracting humor into religious life. My point is such. Jokes or humor are inseparable and should not be separated from religion. Now, when religion touches on the most basic aspects of human life, humor is there. So, for whom is religion? In a Christian tradition, there is a saying, for whom is Sabbath? It is Sabbath for human being or human being for Sabbath. It is religion for human being or human being for religion. But I agree, I'm sure most of you agree that actually religion is for the people, not the other way around. And if this the case, then humor, because this is the basic or the nature of human being, should be included in religion. Of course, it will impact to the study of religions. But Chinese is the one responsible for this. Whether the study of humanity, study of nature, should also include humor in it. We never have humor in our syllabus.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
The study of religion becomes so serious, so manly, so macho, going, whatever you want to call it.
Sadness, tragic.
And then you protest. Why God is so macho, is so manly? This is because of you. But God is such a manly figure. Yeah, you blame God, but you actually project your own image of God. So if we try to change the image of God into more funny,
friendly,
more friendly, more smiling, whatever. I have actually some pictures about Christ, laughing Christ, but that one was real. And the smiling Christ are imaginary of some painters. But this one is a painting from the 13th century, the smiling Christ. Is something that is very interesting because it comes from 13th century, a long time ago, and why it is marked among the discourses of Christianity, which are serious, dominated by the seriousness of God. So this is inviting for us. On a moral level, humor exposes the superficiality of social relationships, like the practical wisdom part. So if you throw this joke to the people would say, see, oh yeah, our relationships, why? They are so hypocrite, so many hypocrisy in our relationship. We should try to debunk this, expose this in such a way until we find the truth in it. So this is a pastoral way of, reminding people of making people aware of what is actually being religious, why you pray to God, why there is God for you. Humor is naked honesty. It is both humiliating and lead us to our true existence. That is my point. Now I will end my presentation with another joke, which is something I got it last night, so this is new for me. Maybe you have heard about this, but just last night. It is very interreligious. It's very interesting the way this humor relates or response to the present religious capitalism, whatever you call it, the sort of religion that always shows the success or the extravagance, the heboh-heboh. I went to an interreligion integration seminar. So Pak Anju was there, Pak Saina was the resource person. But the bishop came, laid his hands on my hand and said, "By the will of Jesus Christ, you will walk today." I smiled and told him I was not paralyzed. The rabbi came, laid his hands on my hand and said, "By the will of God Almighty, you will walk today." Less amused, I told him that there was nothing wrong with me. Mullah came, took my hands and said, "Inshallah, we'll walk today." I snapped at him, "There is nothing wrong with me." The Hindu sadhu came and said, "Beta, you will walk on your legs today." I said, "Babaji, nothing wrong with my legs." The Buddhist monk came and held my hands and said, "By the will of the great Buddha, you will walk today." I rudely told him that there was nothing wrong with me. After the seminar, I stepped outside and thought my bicycle had been stolen. I believe in all religions now. Okay.
You will walk today.
So you will.
That's all the truth that I present to you, and many more you can find everywhere. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for such a cheerful presentation. So maybe first 3 questions or comments on this.
Maybe a joke from Anju.
Yeah, would you like more
Abu
jokes?
Nawas joke.
Yeah,
Maybe a joke from Anju.
sure.
Okay, maybe from Mike first.
Thank you, Robert. That was good. I had a theology professor in my undergrad who loved to joke. And he very much influenced my reading of the Bible until today. He could find a joke in almost every passage. But he tells me the story of, he's always telling jokes. He's Texan. He goes to Russia right after the fall of the wall, and he preaches. And he makes jokes. And the more and more he makes jokes, the angrier the crowd becomes. Because in Russia, you do not make jokes.
Because they are jokes already.
Yeah. I know in Indonesia, we have many different cultures, and I've preached in many different places here in Indonesia. Are there any Indonesian cultures that you are aware of where they would not receive jokes well in terms of sermons and ministries?
Yeah.
Kayak kampung enggak ya, Pak?
Kampung malah lebih.
Iya, kampung stand-up comedian harus.
Garis lucu. Okay, more questions or comments? Okay. If you would like to answer Pak Mike's question.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to pretend that I know the answer, but actually I don't. I'm not an expert in the cultural studies, but maybe Mas Anjo can answer that. Only that the more I find people are in difficulty, they create jokes, even the Papuan people. The problem is the communication. We don't understand their jokes. Always among them. When I was driving here, I saw 2 Papuan students laughing one another, and I was just imagining I want to talk about joke. Whether I would understand their joke when I approach them. I guess I thought that I would understand, because joke is very cultural, contextual, and then always, because there are several kind of jokes. Joke that is making people silly, deriding people like that. And yeah, now I remember the story when I read in Jakarta Post many years ago about Papua person and Jakarta person. Jakarta. This is a real story. This is a joke, but a real story. The Jakarta young man like climbing, and he climbed the Wijaya mountain, and then to Papua bring the luggage, whatever. Yeah, what do you call this? People hike get is the of
Porter.
porter, right? Porter. Okay. So at one point, quite high, they had a chance to exchange their thought quite openly, and the Jakarta person said, "I'm really sorry to say to you that your smell is terrible. You know that the smell. It's very difficult. So I'm sorry about it." And then Papua suddenly said, "Oh, I'm glad you say that, because I also smell very bad of the Jakarta people. You wear perfume, and it's really annoyed me. You know, the perfume that the Jakarta people is something, it smells really bad for the Papua people." And the other way around. You know, it's the joke is about the cultural exchange. Yeah, and then it's about how to even try to meet the one community with the other. So if you create a joke like this, then people will come up and say, "Yeah, this is something about me and also the other people." You love to the other, but you love to yourself too. That's the way the joke works. Yeah, I guess. So in that sense, if you agree with the theories of humor, humor is universal. It is the basic of humanity, etc. I am simply said that no culture that doesn't have, no culture that doesn't have joke. No, no. Every culture has joke. Sorry. So every society has their own joke. Problem is with how to translate jokes, which is quite difficult if you want to understand the jokes of the other community or people. That's my unknown answer.
Okay, maybe next questions or comments. Or maybe I'm going to ask questions.
Yeah.
So maybe like I would like to maybe like one comment and one question. So about humor, and then how we should make God friendly. Is we can kind of like personify it. I have read this article, but I haven't finished it, about how there's a Twitter account, and then at God like that. And yeah. And then people just start to mention this
Satan, God.
profile at God, and then they just like talk whatever. They talk just whatever, they jokes, maybe like they blame God. Well, it's something, the content is something that they cannot do in the religious practice. And I think it's quite resonates with this. What's actually the relationship between, let's say, humor and the sacredness? Because it's like there's like a thin line that I think that probably we should differentiate, because it feels so wrong to joke about maybe like jokes about God in such a religious situations and so on. So what do you think?
Yeah, what comes to my mind, automatically is the Punokawan, the 5 figures of Wayang, whom I like very much. I do know about Wayang, and I do everyone. But when the Punokawan appeared in the States, then I become very noticing. Usually, if you have the whole night performance of Wayang, during the dawn, you had this Punokawan game, and the famous figure of Punokawan who makes jokes is Semar. That is considered to be the what you call the most Sakti. The Sakti, what is that in English? A person, it's just like in between person, in between human and God. Yeah, because he is also an incarnation of whoever God is in the Japanese Maya.
Demigod.
Nah, the name of the God that my summary is, in the incarnation of this God. Is Maya.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So again, you have this, yeah, actually. I don't want to say, but it could be that only Christianity is, yeah, when I studied humor in Christianity, I found that there is a group of people who study this, and I try to correspond with the person, and he tried to describe the whole history of humor. In general, you have this picture that you have jokes along the way of the history of Christianity, but they didn't really become dominant. Only quite recently, that is in the modern time, that it got more suppressed. And so sort of modernity suppressed joke because they think that this is unproductive. Of course, you had that also opposition to jokes in the time of the fathers, yeah, the church fathers, always suspicious toward jokes, that the jokes become is a representations of Satan, it's evil, etc. You have that, but modernity has more suppression to joke. He said, yeah, if you study the history of the relationship between joke and Christianity. So it is not always that you always have some opposition towards jokes, but sometimes you have it more. And I guess this is my context why I put jokes, because in Indonesia, religion become very, very long-faced matter. This is serious, pale, manly, whatever. That only represents one side of your humanity. The other side is lost. Why? Yeah, that is my challenge. Why I, present this material. I'm not a comedian. I like joke, but I'm not comedian. So that's why when I present this in my professorship inauguration, I invited Duta. And it was ironic too. When I approached him in July, we talked about this. It was still when he was supporting fully Jokowi. So when I tried to give him a clue, IKN, for example, I said to him, some people say that this is a big money and people cannot really pay the debt. But I said, no, that's not true. IKN is a good project. And he said that I'm invited to perform a dance. And I include also the local people to show that IKN belongs to them too. I said, oh, it was. But when in November my inauguration came, he was so critical towards Jokowi and used the stage to criticize Jokowi. And my colleagues said, we are afraid that after this there is something. But I said, no worry. Yeah, this is just a art. And art, of course, it is very serious. This aesthetic is also being the target of suspicion in religion. They always think that aesthetic is very light. It is not a serious matter. You can find it quite easily in many writings of the scholars, of the religious scholars, that always, putting down aesthetic. But again, this is the time for us to think. Is it true that being religious, you try to separate yourself from art? And I'm Protestant. Protestant is very, very, very bad in art. Yeah, because
It's just cross.
just crosses.
Cross.
Boring.
Boring. And the church is boring.
No ornament, no color whatsoever. Yeah, so if you want to have a very relaxed world, but tedious life, marry Protestant. You are a boring person. The most boring person in the world. They don't know art. Yeah. But the Catholic, you have many sculpture, many arts, and they are still artistic. Yeah. And I gather also in Islam. You have Nasruddin, just one example, and the absorption of wayang into Islam tradition is another. So you have a lot of jokes, and Gus Dur is very known for his jokes. Yeah, our former president. He take the kindergarten people in the House of Representatives, etc., which is true until now. Yeah. He tells the truth, but people are angry. Just like in Russia, people are angry because they are touched. They are they are asked to open themselves to be honest. Honesty is is a bad thing for us. We try to always hide to be ourselves. So that's why people are angry, because when you open themselves, they are angry. So that's the situation. Yes. So if you try to write about jokes, many materials, joke and religion, you can find in the internet and books and literatures. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for your answers. And maybe like one more question.
Yeah.
So in terms of like interreligiosity or interreligious circumstances in Indonesia, does humor can be the indications that, let's say, like something is suspicious or something needs to be problematized? For examples, like maybe like phrases like login, log out, bursa transfer, and so on and so on. And why? And then I asked the question, why the phrase of login is always for another from other religions to Islam only, but for the conversion that happens outside Islam, like for Islam to Christianity, you said it's like log out. Why it's not login as well? So it's like it is like a very interesting to me. So does humor like this, like what the youth sometimes use in their daily conversation, really indicates the conditions of interreligiosity in Indonesia, that it's so hegemony or so on?
In my small book, I mentioned Setio when he converted into Islam. Yeah, the mualaf, he became mualaf. The Catholic garis lucu said in the Twitter, at that time still Twitter, said, I sent this person to you, the Muslim people, yeah. And then the NU garis lucu said, oh yeah, we welcome him and we'll take care of him. Yeah. So this communication between Catholic garis lucu and NU garis lucu is, mind blowing for people who always see that conversion is a serious matter, is an unholy matter, is a blasphemous, etc. So why not make it more easy, and people can convert to one religion, even they surrender their religion at all. Why not give this chance for them? And humor, again, this humorous communication between the NU garis lucu and Catholic garis lucu is an example that public remember always. This is in the memory of the public. Yeah, you can always make a joke on this, not something the other way around that people usually see the conversion is. So why not? Yeah, but why? Well, we always think that conversion is bad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please.
Thank you very much, my name is Abdi. I'm from here. I want to ask. Sometimes jokes become too far. We have dark jokes.
Yes.
Usually, before I came to GRCS, I usually open up my speaking or something, like this by Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang tidak beragama dapat salam dari Tuhan. Usually I open my speaking like that, but after I join CLCS, I know it will be insulting for some people who, perpetually say by the state like they have no religion and so on and so forth. And then I also usually tell jokes with my old friends that like what gods cannot do if gods so I mean like the Maha is so omnipotent. I mean like what gods cannot do, and they said many things and I answer usually like God cannot see, Tuhan tidak bisa melihat sesamanya. Itu yang tidak bisa dilakukan Tuhan sebenarnya. Tuhan tidak bisa semacam itu. Kemudian saya juga punya seorang teman. I also have a friend. She's difabel and she feel insulted when she saw stand-up comedy because he said stand-up comedy for me is insulting because I cannot stand up. How much I try, I cannot make a comedy by standing up because I difabel, something like that. And when I try those jokes to others, I mean like, yeah, I cannot do that because I'm not difabel, something like that. So how far is too far for the joke? Anything?
How far is too far? Yeah, you cannot predict what happens when you make a joke. A joke is funny for a group of people, but insulting for the other group of people. It happens. You cannot really avoid that. Because a funny joke is about making silly of other people. Yeah, like stand-up comedy. Roasting public figure. When I studied in Scotland many years ago, I already saw in television roasting the Queen Elizabeth. One video that I still remember is Ratu Elizabeth. The Queen Elizabeth is climbing, riding escalator, but the escalator is going down. She went up. This is. Of course, I didn't really catch all of the joke at that time. Again, joke is cultural, but I still remember that. So it would probably insult the person who is roasted. Yeah. So it's interesting to see that now roasting done also to politicians in Indonesia.
Yeah.
I saw Kaisang even being roasted by siapa itu?
Kisah Putri.
Yeah, it was so funny. Things that we are always thinking about this Jokowi family, they are doing something bad, etc. Is being thrown in the roasting of this person. So there is a development from being close and thinking about bad things of about Jokowi family, and when it is brought to this stand-up comedy and the person is being roasted, and then you feel everybody is united, by this roast, by laughing together towards this person. It's like spiritual. What you call progress, finding of something that makes you feel relief. Yeah, so it's so relieving, this kind of experience. But of course, some people still cannot accept this kind of joke. Yeah, maybe some of the Jokowi supporters say that this is too much. We are not supposed to joke this much. Yeah, Buddha might have different friends. One is saying, this is too much. I agree if he has been caught by the police and asked or whatever. Gentlemen, no, this is funny. This is something that we need. So you have different opinions of the same person, throwing joke. and very contextual because it is about the politics nowadays in Indonesia. After the general election, the joke is become mundane. It is nothing, but before general election is something. And then it splits, it brings different opinions of the people. But that is the situation with society. You cannot really make a uniformity of thinking in the society. What you bring is just to let people react, response in their own way towards joke. The joke is part of democracy if you want to be loved by. This is really representing public square when we can have different opinions, even debate about it. But it's funny. It's different from the political debate as well. It is fun. So it's always, there is a united factor in joke, but also division. You cannot really avoid that. Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Reza dulu sih, tapi nggak apa.
Oh,
Sudah di situ saja.
Yeah.
Reza dulu.
Yeah, I just want to share a bit. I think this is a very important aspect that we have left in theological school usually, because I came from a different church than what I am currently affiliated with. So my previous church is different from the current church.
Oh.
I am a Mualaf to Mennonite because I had a different interpretation on a passage in our Bible.
Yeah.
I see that this particular passage in the Bible, Matthew 25, about the talents.
Asik.
Yeah, usually the mainstream interpretation on the passage is for me is not right. So the story is like this. Pakai bahasa Indonesia aja, susah.
Just.
Oh yeah. So this, but he's a pastor also. So Matthew 25 is there is a master. There is seorang tuan begitu. He has 3 slaves, 3 workers lah, employees.
Iyalah kan?
Yeah, the capitalist slaves. They have 3 slaves, and he's going out. He's going somewhere abroad, foreign countries. To the first servant, he gives 5 apa namanya?
5 points.
5 coin lah. 5 thing. For the first servant to keep. And then for the second servant, he gives 2.
2 lah ya.
2 lah, 2 cukup lah. And then for the third one, he only give 1. And then he went away, and then he came back. When he came back, the first servant from 5 it became 10. So Tuan, I make this 5 into 10. You must be happy. Yes, I'm happy. Good. Good servant. The second one also from 2 becomes 4. So it doubled. Oh, good. But the third one, from 1, he buried it. He hid the coin, and then he did nothing. But when the master come, the third servant criticized the master lah. Yeah,
And then lah ya.
criticize the master. Saya tahu, I know that you are reaping from where you don't sow.
Report you, yeah.
Kamu menuai di mana kamu tidak menabur.
Yes.
You get not from what you work on. Like they criticize on the master. Like. But usually the mainstream interpretation will say that the third servant is lazy, is a bad person. You should not become like him. You have to work hard. If God gives you something, you have to develop the skill. You have to develop the talenta, like istilahnya. But I see that it is wrong. Jesus is not saying that thing because I see that the third servant is actually a critic to the society over there at that time, the feudalist, imperialist Roman. But I was rejected by my previous church.
Your master too.
My previous master. So if you want to know more, you can ask me further. But what I want to say is this ignorance of the joke aspect of our religiosity is building a certain kind of interpretation tradition that is marginalizing some little portion lah of the people lah.
English lah, ya koko dulu.
So marginalization comes from this certain type of interpretation. So that's why I think it's very important for us to really incorporate the wholeness, the totality of our human experience, from the serious ones and also the non-serious ones, so we can really be inclusive in our interpretations. Because I was rejected by that church, so I reject them also. Dan I bertobat ke Mennonite. Thank you.
Thank you.
More transicure, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just a quick comment related to what Mas Abdi's question. How far is too far? So I was thinking probably humor is about crossing boundaries. I mean, things which were unthinkable or you don't talk about, and then you talk about it. So you cross certain boundaries, and crossing boundaries is always risky. I mean, you don't know what is over there, so probably that also explains Mike's story in Russia. So certain things can make people angry, although it's intended as humor. Sometimes I think it's unpredictable because we are crossing the boundaries. And I was thinking, just two illustrations, both are from popular films. The last one, I think probably many of you have watched or not. If you have not watched it, I recommend it. Very popular now, Agak Lain.
Agak lain ya, agak lain banget.
And I think it's amazing that they can make jokes about Islam and Christianity. So they dare to cross that boundary, and it's funny. And if it's funny, people don't get angry. If it's not funny, probably they will be angry. But I think no one will. I mean, if you want, you can easily accuse them of penistaan agama or something. But I think they're safe. Their film becomes the most popular comedy films in Indonesian history. So yeah, if you have not recommended it, if you have not watched it, I think it's highly recommended. Very funny, and yeah, it takes up issues which are sensitive. The other one is an old film, actually romance film. I always forgot the exact title. Tiga Hati, Dua Dunia Satu Cinta. Is it that?
Yeah.
Yeah. there's one scene in that film which I will never forget, and that was, I don't exactly remember what year was that film, but it's a film about problematic relations between a Muslim and Christian Chinese. They love each other, but they cannot marry. And in the middle of that, there's an episode where a certain groups in Juba, wearing Juba, and immediately if you see that scene, you will think of FPI at that time, especially that time. I don't remember what year. FPI was really, I mean, on top. But what is funny is that these FPI members, they wear Juba, but the color is pink. And so it immediately switched the impressions about this. And again, no one was angry. FPI was not angry because they don't want to be associated with that. If they protest that, that means it's them. So I think it's risky, but in certain situations, yeah, I mean, if you're smart, it works. Yeah, so that's my comment about the risk of crossing boundaries.
I'd like to add a little on that in relation to that. If you said that humor is part of humanity, and so religion should also include humor. In relation to that, if humor cross the boundaries, could we ask also, could we question, probably religion cross the boundaries of humanity, boundaries of humors. Humor is there, but religion goes too far, crossing the boundaries of humor, right? So we cannot do humor. And so doing humor is basically probably to get our own, to get the human, to get to the best of humanity. And so a way of responding, unsettling religion, the very structured and strict, is by humor. Can you think about it?
But one part of humor is unraveling the institution. What we talk about is the face of religion, which are more serious, organized, things like that, are the so-called institutional religion or institutionalized religion, whatever. So we have a fixed meaning of religion in that sense. Yeah, everything is fixed, and then people want to learn about this. You have already some materials, fixed material from 101 until whatever. So you have this kind of thinking, and then that's why the word boundary. There is we imagine that there is such a boundary because there is an institution, or institutionalized religion because of that, and then religion try to disturb this boundary, to bring people out of the boundary, or to deconstruct the boundary, whatever you want to call it. So that's why it becomes funny, because again, people never think that you can disturb the boundary, but now you can do that, and then in a funny way. Why not? By doing that, you are already disturbed the boundary. You question the boundary. So we need that in religion. Otherwise, religion will become tedious, ritualistic, things like that. It is the same as when the mystic say that we need spirituality more than religion. They try to differentiate between religion and spirituality, for example. Nowadays, people talk more about spirituality because spirituality is more universal than religion, etc. It is the same when the religious scholars argue for the ultimate being, for example, the unnamed ultimate being. So you put people to the place or space which is out of the boundary, beyond the boundary. That is what religion does when you make a joke. Yeah, but again, can we really avoid being institutionalized? That's the problem. So religion is contextual, it is cultural. So it is, in a way, institutionalized too. So that's why we cannot always grasp the joke of people from the other country, for example, except Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is worldwide. For us to come towards the more universal or higher or beyond boundary space, which is very religious. And I'm talking about this, what else you can name it, but religion. Religion is always bringing us to the higher sphere, to the wider sphere, and then humor help us to go to that sphere, but humor, because of the context, because of the institution, is brought towards the situation to which it should be also the target of another humor. So when I go to Buddha, for example, I would also think with him about this possibility. I trust that he would never think the people who are disagree with him or attacking him is bad. For him, humor is just throwing things for the people to think. So this is the death of the other thing. So you just think yourself for him, yeah, because he's really a comedian. You would say like that. But again, can you really avoid being trapped in some kind of institution? You think that you can throw humor to the public and let public think of yourself, but actually your humor is institutionalized too. What you throw to the public is actually not everybody can accept it as such. It is not a neutral humor. What we need as a comedian, or he needs as a comedian, is to receive the response of the public. If there is such a disagreement or they think that this is insulting, that is natural. So you cannot really avoid being trapped in a kind of institution because of that. Of course, he at one point would think that this kind of joke is appropriate because this is the time. It is very timely because this is now the time of general election. So he throw this kind of joke. He realized about it. So this is also the context, the institution. He realizes that his joke is bringing pros and cons. People who would think with him that, yeah, the present president is doing, some things that he should not have done. Yeah, looking at what his track record, etc. But some people say that, yeah, you are doing the right thing because this is for the good of the president himself or for the family of the president. You always having this. It shows that humor at one point is also bringing division. It is uniting, but also dividing people. I think we just have to accept that we cannot avoid this kind of situation. Thank you.
Okay, so I think our time is up, so please give applause for our person. Okay, it's religious. Maybe I just would like to share a bit. So I just read this book called The Philosophy of Humor for my research by Ron A. Smith, and Actually, the word humor was derived from the Latin word humor. Humor is a liquid that had
Yeah.
been used as a medieval medicinal therapy.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a laughter is the best medicine, because when they drink this liquid, they feel better. Ooh, what's that liquid? I need that. So yeah, so that's from the closure.
It's ecstasy nowadays.
It's ecstasy. Oh my God.
What?
It's ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy. Okay. It's pretty much legal. Okay, so but first, we have a gift, a souvenir for Professor Robert that will be delivered by Pak Zain.
So, minggu lalu sudah saya.
Masih kuat.
Sudah.
Gagah Pak. Ini joknya ya.
Gagal dan lucu. Joknya ditulis 8 tahun yang lalu sudah. Tidak.
Saya Pak.
Thanks.
Segar banget hari ini karena banyak ketawa.
Siapa yang
Abdi, Mas Abdi.
Yang tadi nanya di sana.
Oke.
Semua yang nggak sebanyak
So for our next Wednesday forum to be
Cadilan.
Oh, from Ladrina.
Oh, Ladrina.
About youth, religion, and mental health. Does everyone turn into religion as a coping mechanism? So don't miss it out for the world. So see you next week. Thank you guys.
Terima kasih juga.